Darline Turner-Lee here, Bedrest Coach, owner and founder of Mamas on Bedrest and Beyond. And today I'm doing just a little commentary of my own with my beef with high fructose corn syrup. Now, my last blog post talked about the dangers of consuming too many carbohydrates while you're pregnant. And I wanted to really come back and highlight the fact that yes, eating a lot of sugary foods during pregnancy is bad, but it's also processed foods and the cumulative effects of high fructose corn syrups in our processed foods. Now, a lot of people say, why are you making such a big deal about this? Well, if you go back to my blog from last week, www.mamasonbedrest.com/blog, you'll see that we're seeing an increased rate of women needing to have gallbladder surgery after pregnancy because they're getting too much biliary congestion, and they found that it's due to the hormones and to high sugary diets during pregnancy. Now, a lot of people would say, well, that's just people eating a lot of not good foods for themselves during pregnancy. And that is in part, some of the problem. Maybe women are indulging, what have you, I don't know. But it has been shown that the regular American diet, processed foods, has a lot to do with some of the diseases and things that we're seeing today. And a lot of that is due to the increase in high fructose corn syrup in our food. So let's kind of look back and see what's going on. A lot of people would say, well, it's not corn's fault. Corn has glucose. Well, in 1957, researchers developed glucose isomerase, and they found that they could convert glucose to fructose, which, was fairly easy to do and pretty cheap. In the 70s, this became a boon because the price of importing sugar went sky high. There were tariffs, there were taxes, and it just became really difficult and costly to import cane sugar. So here we are with all this corn here in America, have the glucose isomerase, and then we started mass producing high fructose corn syrup in the early 70s. By 1977, sugar importing was really expensive, and manufacturers were like, look, we have got to find a cheaper alternative. And that's when, again, the use of high fructose corn syrup again went up. Finally, in 1984, Coke and Pepsi began putting high fructose corn syrup into the sodas. And we all know in this country, there's a lot of Coke and Pepsi consumed. So then the amount of high fructose corn syrup being used and consumed just skyrocketed. Now we know today high fructose corn syrup is in many, many, many of our products. I mean, I was surprised it's in ketchup. It was in pickles. I was looking at pickles one day and I was like, is high fructose corn syrup in pickles? In salad dressings, in mustard, not only in cookies and pastries, things like that, but just a lot of products you just wouldn't have expected to see high fructose corn syrup, and it's in there. And currently it is estimated that Americans consume 28.4 kilograms of high fructose corn syrup annually. That equals almost 13 pounds of high fructose corn syrup annually. I mean, that's a lot of sugar when you think about it. So, you see the commercials on TV. There's nothing wrong with high fructose corn syrup. The body can't detect it. It's fine in moderation. And that's true, but you have to look at the cumulative effects of things, and that's where we're running into problems. Take, for example, you go for a hamburger, or you even make a hamburger at home. I was surprised that hamburger buns actually have high fructose corn syrup in them, unless, stated otherwise. But, if you just go into your grocery store and grab, some hamburger buns off the shelf, 9 times out of 10, they're going to have high fructose corn syrup in them. So you put your hamburger in there, maybe you put a piece of cheese or not. If you put ketchup, likely the ketchup has high fructose corn syrup. If you put pickles or relish, likely has high fructose corn syrup in it. If you have mustard, it has high fructose corn syrup in it. If you have French fries with the hamburger, and who would not do that, you're going to probably have ketchup with the French fries, high fructose corn syrup. So again, it's not that high fructose corn syrup in and of itself is bad. It's the cumulative effects. In that one meal, I don't know how much you might have consumed depending on your love of ketchup or what have you, but it's in products that we're not necessarily considering sugary. So we're thinking a hamburger's not sugary. Well, once you've added all of these other things in the high fructose corn syrup within the various components, you've actually consumed a fair amount of high fructose corn syrup. And that's what we're talking about right now. So let's go back and talk about it in terms of pregnancy for a moment. In the blog post, I actually was looking at it because I saw, oh, high carbohydrate intake linked to gallstones and gallbladder surgery. Well, what's really happening there? Well, what happens is the good news about high fructose corn syrup is it doesn't spike your insulin. So a lot of people are like, well, it's good. It's not spiking insulin. It's not causing insulin resistance, which is what often happens to people before they become diabetic. But it's got another little insidious mechanism of action. Okay, true. It doesn't need insulin to be taken into the cells. It can just kind of go in on its own. But what it does do is it causes hepatic lipogenesis, meaning it causes your liver to make more fats. And in particular, it causes your liver to create and make more triglycerides. Triglycerides aren't good for you in high levels. A lot of diabetics have high triglycerides, and high triglycerides are linked to heart disease, so it's not a good thing. What it also does is it promotes, and I wanted to get this right, so I wrote it down, leptin resistance. Now, leptin is a hormone that our bodies produce, and as we eat, leptin levels go up, and it tells our brain, hey, I've had enough, I'm full now. Well, what high fructose corn syrup does is it suppresses leptin, or makes our bodies resistant to leptin, so that we're not getting that signal of, hey, I'm full. Now, I know this for myself because one of my favorite things in life is our Oreo cookies. They are wonderful. If I eat one, I eat a whole tray. But with high fructose corn syrup in them, I'm not getting that message of, oh, I've had enough now. I've had enough now. And your body keeps liking the sugar because you kind of get that little sugar high, and that's how we can overeat. So high fructose corn syrup, while it's not bad per se, it does have some metabolic, I don't know what you would call them, some metabolic quips, if you will. It changes things in our metabolism, and it doesn't change them for the better. I mean, suppressing leptin or making us leptin resistant means that we can't regulate and say, okay, I've had enough after 3 Oreos. No, you want to eat the whole row. Or, gee, I've had enough food right now. No, you keep eating. And that's not a good thing. We need to not have that happen. That's not good for non-pregnant people. It's certainly not good for pregnant people. And it's not good that our bodies react in such a way that it's causing biliary sludge and stone formation, such that women need to get gallbladder surgery. So what is all this? Am I slamming? Am I down in high fructose corn syrup? Yes and no. I mean, I think that as much as we have in the products in our country right now, it is too much. But that aside, it's not going to change anytime soon. So what does that mean for consumers, and especially for moms? It means you really have to be careful. You have to look at product labels. If you're pregnant, try to limit the amount of high fructose corn syrup that you take in. And believe me, it's not easy. I'm amazed. Like, I did the hamburger example because I was amazed. We were having a little barbecue thing, and I was like, okay, I'm going to buy stuff for the barbecue. And it was like high fructose corn syrup in the buns, high fructose corn syrup in the ketchup, high fructose corn syrup in the mustard. I mean, it was in everything that I was buying. And I thought, good Lord, why? It was in the salad dressing. You think, hey, we're having a healthy salad using a vinaigrette, and it had high fructose corn syrup in it. How could that be? But that is what is. And so if you're trying to limit, as they say in the commercial, to eat it in moderation, then you really have to read your product labels and be careful, because if you're saying, oh, well, I only eat cookies some of the time, the cookies aren't the issue. It's the breads, it's the jams and jellies, it's canned fruits, if you eat canned fruits, possibly even canned vegetables, pastas. I mean, a lot of things that you just wouldn't expect to see sugar in has high fructose corn syrup. So you have to be a wise consumer, and you have to really read your product labels. So what else do you want to do? You want to eat more complex carbohydrates. We're always talking about this. Increase your fresh fruits and vegetables. That way there's no chance of you getting high fructose corn syrup, because you pretty much picked it off the vine and you ate it. But salads, fruits, fruit cups, those types of things, make that more of the staples in your diet. And again, just watch your product labels. I've never had gallstones myself. I don't know. I know my sister did after she had her sons. And, it wasn't awful, but, it's not something you really want to run and do either. And because we know that pregnant women are at increased risk of developing gallbladder disease anyway, why push it? So that was just, I wanted to reiterate and kind of highlight some of the things that are going on with high fructose corn syrup and why it can be potentially a little more detrimental to pregnant women or mamas on bed rest. And that's it. I'm not slamming, I'm not hating on high fructose corn syrup, but we have to talk about our health here. And, I don't want you getting sick. So that's all I have to say, my little ditty on high fructose corn syrup. And, I'm not saying cut it out. I'm not saying don't eat cookies ever. I'm not a purist. Read your labels and really try to cut back and keep it in that moderate area so that you don't get sick. If you have any other questions, feel free to send me an email, info@mamasonbedrest.com. You want to discuss it further, sign up for a complimentary 30-minute bed rest breakthrough session. We'll chat all day just about you for 30 minutes. And otherwise, this is Darline Turner-Lee, Bedrest Coach, owner and founder of Mamas on Bedrest and Beyond, signing off. Take care. Have a great day.